asked, and then we talk. How do we go do it? What needs to be done? There's obviously, across the country, quite profound unease. One of the reasons that I have thought about increasingly is the option of a royal commission. Canada has been served well by its royal commissions, not only by what they brought, whether it was Berger, whether it was the Royal Commission on the Status of Women, but that it had become, the good ones, a real vehicle of community building. What happened to women as they prepared their submission to a royal commission that traveled and heard is probably as important as any of the recommendations. We have no equivalent mechanism today to get across the artificial barrier of religion, of status, of age, of political parties, to gather people and say, look, as the women did, as the Aboriginal people in the presence of Berger did, there is a problem that is bigger than our tribal self-interest. And out of that, the concern for the rightful survival of the community can come. Now, it may not be the thing to do, but give it a thought, whether both as a mobilizer, as a clarifying, and as an urgent call. The thought of a royal commission may not be available. And otherwise, let's worry. Because why do we worry about Olympic gold medals and fractions of a tenth of a second between a speed skater here and a skier there, when in fact the very thing that defines this country, that people feel they matter, is at stake. So that's what you might want to just, this is, I know, a very simple diagram, but we must begin to think beyond that blaming, naming, getting into the disabling of structures. This country has built structures that allowed good people to do these things. The shortcutting and dismantling of those structures from the shortcutting of asking MPs what their constituents think by just doing a quick and mostly dirty opinion poll. The world lived without opinion polls for quite a while. And the normal thing is you talk to people who talk to people. And I'm sure that Tony MacDonald knew pretty well what's going on without ever having to have an opinion. We see the rightful functions that in many ways we built into our institutions. I've appeared before anti-parliamentary committees who actually wanted to know something about research financing. When I was member of the National Research Council, we would regularly go, for instance, to the Committee of Estimates and argue about funding of research. Now, this is much better done than having some photo of somebody sitting, having lunch with two university presidents who probably were 15 years ago for the last time in a class. We do not use the institutions we have for political convenience, and because it's so much easier to get an opinion poll over the phone than having to possibly have a discussion on facts, something as irrelevant as that. So we better watch and watch it. Okay, Paul,
well, I think Ursula is right that I was sort of speaking about really my concern 10 years ago when we were worried about citizen apathy and disengagement, and I think over this last number of years that we're watching citizens being actively silenced, that frightened to speak out or their funding will be cut off, and I think Laura would agree that for a while we thought it was just the early learning and child care community, and then they realized it was the disability community, and then it's the overseas development community, and each of these communities thought they were the ones being silenced until they actually realized that it's happening to other people, that if you do speak out, miraculously your funding is cut. And so it's not only that citizens have written us off as politicians or as parliament, it's that the government has made it very clear that if you speak, there will be repercussions that you won't like. And I think that the example that I used was 2 years ago on World AIDS Day, where we could not get one of the national organizations to speak out about the impending cuts or the lack of confidence that they would have their funding after March 31st. We then realized that the minister had given them a meeting so World AIDS Day is December 1st. The minister gave them a meeting December 6th and told them literally by the grapevine that if they spoke out on December 1st, the meeting would be canceled, and that there might be some crumbs for them in the next budget if they behaved. And I think that's what Ken Dryden's been worried about, that for the promise of a few crumbs, you are silencing all of the advocacy in this country, when what they ought to be able to fight for is stable, predictable funding, which, we didn't like it when people were protesting and wanting stable, predictable funding, but this silencing of citizens, I think, has compounded, the concern that I have about what was once cynicism and apathy is now actively being silenced.